But we begin with the ongoing crisis between Russia and Ukraine. Russia's foreign minister is advising President Putin to continue talks with the West as tensions grow over Ukraine. This comes as U.S. officials warn a Russian attack on Ukraine could happen any day now. The U.S. and its allies will continue to press Russia not to invade. The German chancellor is in Ukraine today for crisis talks and will head to Moscow Tuesday to meet with President Putin. Meanwhile, Ukraine is requesting a meeting with Russian officials themselves after the Kremlin failed to respond to a request explaining their military presence near Ukraine's borders. CBS News' Skyler Henry has more.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov told President Vladimir Putin to continue talks with the West over Ukraine. He says talks, quote, can't go on indefinitely, but I would suggest to continue and expand them at this stage. But Secretary of State Antony Blinken expressed doubts this weekend that the Russians are sincere about wanting diplomacy.
They should not only talk about seeking a diplomatic outcome, but actually work toward one.
Russia is demanding that NATO will not allow Ukraine and other former Soviet countries to join the alliance. But Ukraine's foreign ministry rejected that notion, saying the country's right to join NATO is written into Ukraine's constitution. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky held talks with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz Monday, before Scholz heads to Moscow tomorrow. President Biden spoke with both Presidents Putin and Zelensky this weekend, and with no solution in sight, the U.S. is preparing to pull all of its personnel from the embassy in Kyiv within the next 24 to 48 hours. CBS News has learned some Russian troops have moved out of assembly areas near the Ukrainian border, but are not yet in position to launch an attack.
They could launch a military action essentially at any time. They could do so this coming week.
The U.S. says it has some intelligence that Putin has put his military commanders on alert to be ready to go on Wednesday. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
And I want to bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Holly Williams now, who joins us from Ukraine. Hi, Holly. So let's start with what you are experiencing there on the ground. You visited a market in Kyiv and met with some Ukrainians who are in the line of potential fire, right, if there is an invasion. So what are they saying about the crisis?
You know, in a word, Tanya, if you have to describe what it's like being in Ukraine, being in this city, Kyiv at the moment, it's surreal. Because on the one hand, this country is looking down the barrel of a Russian invasion. But on the other hand, people here are just extraordinarily calm. We were in the subway early this morning. Now, that is effectively this city's biggest bomb shelter. But for the moment, commuters are just going about their usual business on their way to work. We were in a playground yesterday. Children were out with their parents in the winter sun, as if this country does not have roughly 100,000 troops massed along its border. Now, why are people here so calm? Well, I think there are a few different possibilities. One is that the government here has consistently urged calm, and it's told people that panic will be destabilizing and will damage this country's economy. But I also think just amongst ordinary Ukrainians, there's this sense of pride and determination that they are not going to be intimidated or threatened. Remember that they've already been living with Russian aggression in this country for nearly 8 years after the Crimean Peninsula was seized by Russia, and they've been fighting a war against Russian-backed separatists. That said, when you scratch the surface here, people are definitely worried. We spoke with a Ukrainian war correspondent today. This is a man who's been covering that war in the East for years. He got emotional when we talked about the prospect of a Russian invasion. His eyes welled up with tears. And we just now spoke with a former Prime Minister of Ukraine, Arseniy Yatsenyuk, who said that this country's future is hanging in the balance. He said this is a to be or not to be moment, and he vowed to himself pick up a gun if Russia invades.
Wow. And so, Holly, to that point, what preparations are you seeing being made in Ukraine for a potential invasion, or are they happening behind the scenes? Are they not visible preparations?
Well, so here's what's not happening. You know, people are not panic buying. People are not clearing out supermarket shelves at all. People are not crying in the street. People are not running for the hills or fleeing the country. Here's what is happening. We've filmed volunteers on the weekend picking up guns and training to fight, you know, determined to defend their country. Kyiv's government says that it has an evacuation plan, and it says that it's made preparations to maintain electricity, heating and communications if there's an attack. Now, that gets to the fear that a Russian invasion invasion could be preceded by a cyber attack knocking out critical infrastructure. Also, Poland, which is just next door, says that it has made preparations for an influx of refugees from Ukraine. But beyond that, what do you do? Because the fact is, nobody here knows exactly what a Russian invasion would look like.
Right, of course. And Holly, as we mentioned earlier, the German chancellor is in Ukraine today and will meet with President Putin in Moscow tomorrow. How important are these meetings in terms of avoiding war?
Well, it depends whether you think that any diplomacy, not just German diplomacy, but any diplomacy is actually going to change Vladimir Putin's mind at this point, because the choice is his, or whether you think it comes down to a much more kind of fundamental equation. Whether you think that actually what matters is that, on the one hand, Vladimir Putin does not like the current world order. He doesn't like the state of affairs following the Cold War, and he wants to draw a kind of red line through Ukraine and say, we don't want this country to be part of NATO. We want it to be part of our sphere of influence. But on the other hand, balancing that, he's been threatened with very severe consequences by the West and with sanctions that may very well affect him personally. So presumably, that's what he's balancing. I told you that we spoke to a former Prime Minister of Ukraine, Arseniy Yatsenyuk. He put it at 50-50 at this point. He said that if the West stays united and sticks to the same message, then an invasion may very well be averted.
50-50, not bad odds at this point. All right, Holly Williams in Ukraine, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.